in the NFL draft.
Hey, make us lunch. We're hungry.
Yo, everybody, how you doing? We are less than a week away from training camp, and I'm so excited. I'm busting. And I know you are too. I know you can't wait. I know it. And you know what? Literally, I have watched the Eagles year in review on the NFL Network like 10 times. I keep rewinding it. I keep rewinding certain parts. When, Carson said, what? On the sideline, he said, what? I keep doing it. I'm so excited. I can't help it. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited. And you know what? Because I'm in a good mood, I'm excited. I want to talk about the Eagles offense and reasonable expectations and ceilings for some of the players that will make this offense dynamic. This is a best case scenario for the Eagles. This is, if everything goes right, where I think these guys could be. So let's start with the coach. He's going to be in second year, and if he just opens up his playbook, he starts letting Carson stretch the field and using him to his ability, I believe Carson Wentz will go out there, and I believe he will throw 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and I'm going to bump up my 3,800 yards prediction to over 4,100. I believe he'll be right around the 4,100 yards mark. So 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and about 4,100 yards. I think this will be Pro Bowl numbers for him. I think this is comparable to other good quarterbacks who have taken a step in the second year, like Mariota did and Winston. You don't want Winston's 18 interceptions. 18 interceptions stinks, but we don't want that. But Winston was still good. He threw, I believe, 28. So I see Carson somewhere around there. I think that's reasonable, and I think that is pretty good ceiling for year two. It will make him an MVP candidate, in my opinion, and a Pro Bowler. So it's very good. Now, let's talk about Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey was the big signing, probably the best receiver in free agency, really. And the Eagles got him. The Eagles front office decided to bring him in and put him with Carson. He will be Carson's #1 target. He will be his man. He will make plays that others can't make because of his ability to go up one-on-one and go up and get a ball even in traffic. So I see Alshon Jeffrey putting up numbers like this: 90 catches, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. I think that's reasonable, and I think that is a good ceiling, you know, in the best case scenario year. And he is due for a really good year. He's had a couple hard years with injuries. I think this year he's due for something, you know, a lot better. So then I want to talk about Zach Ertz. Now, Zach Ertz, I was watching the yearbook, and it just shocked me because I saw Carson Wentz go over to the coaches and be like, "Hey, we got to get Ertz the ball. We got to feed Ertz." And if you have a quarterback, if you have a quarterback that does that for his player, that goes to the coaches and says that and is aware of it, he has the potential to really help Ertz finally break out. Now, Ertz has been close, and I thought the last few years he would, and I went out on a limb last year to say he would break out. I don't think he did, but I think with Carson Wentz, and in the best case scenario, he will. I think it's reasonable for Ertz to get 85 catches, 1,000 yards, slightly over 1,000 yards, and about 8 touchdowns. I think that would be very reasonable for him to get. Now, one of the late signings in June was LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount was one of my favorite signings. Was one of my favorite because it came out of nowhere. I did not think the Eagles were going to even have a chance. But, you know, if you look at where our running backs were before Blount, it was scary. And I really believe that it changes the whole dynamic of this offense. So I think it's very reasonable for Blount to go out there and get 1,200 yards rushing, 9 to 10 rushing touchdowns, and maybe even 20 catches, maybe a little over 20 catches, because they could use him in certain screen games and stuff that teams wouldn't suspect, and you can use him like that, you never know. And if I think he can do that, he probably could do even better. So that's a really good year for a running back. To do 1,200 yards, like 10 touchdowns, man, that would be great. On top of what everything else that they did, it would be great. Now you look at the offense, they brought in guys like Warmack, so they got depth there. We don't have to worry about Lane Johnson's suspension. So with those guys producing that way, it'll open everything up for guys like Torrey Smith, guys like Jordan Matthews, guys like that. I think will have pretty good years, and Sproles too. And then you have Sproles, which adds a whole nother dynamic, and maybe even Pumphrey. So these are the guys that are going to anchor this offense. And if they put up these kind of numbers, we will see a playoff team. So that's my expectations, and ceilings for the Eagles offense. Tomorrow I'll probably do defense, and I'll also be putting out my NFC North predictions. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I'll do that and put it up tonight or sometime tomorrow, hopefully. Take care, talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.